With the Final Fantasy VII Remake peeking over the horizon, I'd like to talk about what the original offers and what stands to get lost in translation. Spoilers, of course, though it's only for the original game. I haven't played the remake, but depending on how faithful it is, it might be spoilers for that too. What exactly does it mean to remake this game? To create something that's modern and looks better than this fossil is fairly easy, but capturing the exact way it gripped so many and managed to emote so much and tell such resonant and powerful stories while remaining this largely silly and childish game about these two hot dudes beating each other up is very difficult. Midgar is built in two tiers, with the rich living physically above the poor on a concentric raised plate. In one slum below these plates lies Wall Market, which hosts the first truly fun and silly sequence. There's this upbeat music and a lot of dynamic characters. There's a bustling restaurant and these dudes doing squats. These are the slums, but there's this sense of community and camaraderie. You can visit around and collect makeup and a dress to sneak into a notorious pervert's mansion as Cloud, cross-dressed as a pretty girl. You can do a squatting competition with this guy who gets his shit rocked, and enter a brothel where a guy tells you that even an unpopular dweeb like you can meet their destiny here. Entering one room prompts this, which confuses and delights me every time I see it. I challenge anyone to explain to me what is happening here, and I cannot imagine this timing being quite as perfect in 3D. You enter Don Corneo's mansion after all of this, and hijinks ensue. You, Tifa, and Aerith reveal yourself, and he gets his just desserts to finish the chapter. Except he doesn't. He reveals plans to drop the plate above Sector 7 of the slums, killing every living creature below, and blaming it on the player's group, calling them terrorists. You rush back to the slums into a firefight. Your old crew are all strewn out on the stairs, drawing their last breaths. You fight and try to disable the bomb, but it's useless. And suddenly, it's over. The plate crashes down above you. Barrett's daughter may be dead. Aerith has been abducted. Jesse, Biggs, and Wedge are dead. Their last words and last thoughts are spent lamenting their weakness and supposing that they're being punished for what they did as terrorists. You're left feeling defeated. In an arm wrestle with such a massive company, Jesse, Wedge, Biggs, and Barrett will always be overpowered. Shinra has much more ammunition, more impoverished and disenfranchised it's willing to destroy, and can wipe their hands clean with a tax break or a bailout. Barrett, Cloud, and Tifa escape, and Barrett cries out for his family. We perceive a strong sense of survivor's guilt from Barrett, who led and lost his team, but Barrett's character is incapable of taking responsibility and admitting fault. He has a deep history of trauma, and this isn't the first or second time he's outlived someone precious to him. To drop his vendetta against Shinra would be to stand face to face with his own mistakes and ideological shortcomings, which he is incapable of at this point in the story. This is the same character that has a gun arm and goes on a date with Cloud. Final Fantasy VII is a master at its broad tonal spectrum. Wall Market is strengthened by the dark atmosphere and further strengthens the subsequent painful moments. 7 is beloved because it hits this in a way that many games don't. There's so many instances of such deep hurt. Characters are traumatized and lose their sense of identity, and those closest to them. There are these incredible moments of levity and beauty, and they're so strong because of moments like these. This sequence, with the smoke rising frame by frame, isn't made any weaker by its representation in these silly polygons on this old, hand-painted background. This pain and denial, Cloud and Tifa both grieving and trying to think of something to say while they form their own answers. I know this game, the remake was unbelievably stressful to make. Even in a Midgard that looks this nice, with new combat and extensive programming, good luck having this scene land. But I'm sure it will. I even suspect that this remake will be faithful to the source material and brave enough to write outside the scope of what they're given. And they have to. This game, this story, is somehow orders of magnitude more relevant than it was 23 years ago. I'm writing this quarantined inside. There are many others in my city not far from me who aren't as privileged. Top officials reported that there was nothing to worry about from the coronavirus, that it was comparable to the flu.
It's like, oh, let's bludgeon Trump with this new hoax.
I feel like the more I learn about this, the less there is to worry about.
I was about to say the same thing. Let me tell you something. This virus should be compared to the flu because at worst case scenario, it could be the flu.
The flu would be far more deadly.
The plate collapses over Midgar. Meanwhile, senators quietly sell stocks they were tipped off about, while the uninsured and the unemployed are unable to take care of themselves or pay rent. Further, the plate falls, and a no-strings-attached bailout for Wall Street is passed. Shinra wipes their hands clean of the destruction of Sector 7 and shifts responsibility to its citizens. First responders are called heroes and soldiers as they are overworked and exposed and killed by the preventable spread of a virus government officials knew about for a month prior. And there we are. We survive and are left alone to pick up the pieces and assign whatever meaning we can to what has already happened and how we'll move forward. 7 is so relevant today because it knows exactly how to knock the wind out of its characters and audience, but it always remembers to present the full spectrum of the human condition. Its deep distrust for authority is more pressing and relevant than it could have been in 1997. Its spirit and love for its own audience, though, is what stands to get lost in translation. But its script and ideas are actually already a home run before the game has even hit shelves. And it comes at just the right time, down to the week. We're living through something that we will soon put to paper and tell our grandchildren about. Just as Sector 7 will heal, just as Gaia grows around the scar on her surface that is Midgar, so too will this pass. We will heal collectively from this illness, and I suspect we'll bind closer together, so be kind to those around you. Take care of yourself. Don't wait for a full-scale war between an evil corporation, the prehistoric guardians of Earth, an alien god, and a robotic cat riding atop of an animatronic Moogle. Thank you, as always, for watching.